Chamge jitab kalenjina mangwengu itugulele imite go ibaibai agegere geteshet nebo Kass TV tetutet ko Kass Mashinani gugurena Jacqueline Arusei en Kass Mashinani go engbetu tabrani getindai thoughts negibende ngalale agoba mianda notok nat ko Parkinson's disease notok mianda notok ko testa agoba njangida bi ago Jangda biga be metap Kenya go matinda night agoba mionato go engbetu tabrani kemite aginendet Nduta Mbogori nenendet kwa genge eng ambassadors totok teme ko na CGP gap emetap Kenya agoba mionato ago tinwe go raje much ke boishe enga sartane jinge chitogonya iset ko tinge ak mionda notok pa Parkinson's disease. So Nduta, welcome to our studios.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so probably I would love you to introduce yourself to the audience so that they get to know you.
Sure. Hi everybody. My name is Nduta. I am a young person living with Parkinson's disease. I am a juvenile onset case, which is very rare because the majority of people are usually diagnosed later on in life, maybe 50 and upwards. But interestingly, Parkinson's is one of the fastest growing neurodegenerative conditions in the world, and the biggest subgroup within that is people under the age of 40. So what's really going on? Who knows? Yeah.
So probably we know many people are not aware of Parkinson's disease, and probably would you enlighten us about how it starts, some of the symptoms, yeah, as we go.
So Parkinson's disease affects your nerves largely. If you've seen somebody shaking hands, maybe that's what they have. That's the biggest indicator usually, but there are a lot of other things that they look for to be sure that this is what you have. For me, because it's individual, right? My experience will be different to the next patient, right? So one of the first symptoms that I experienced was a lot of neck and shoulder discomfort and like down my spine essentially. If I would stand up to run when I was younger, I would feel pain shooting into my ankles, and I never really thought much about that. There were some sleep disturbances, but you just assume you're stressed, you're fatigued. Fatigue was a big one also. I was tired so often. Stomach problems as well, like constipation, or one day it's too loose, the next day it's not moving at all, so yeah, disturbances of that nature. I even thought I had irritable bowel syndrome, but it just turned out it was complications caused by this condition. So as a bit of a background, this condition is caused when your brain stops creating a chemical or a neurotransmitter called dopamine. People know dopamine as the happy hormone, but it's responsible for movement, it's responsible for sleep balance, it's responsible for digestion, it's responsible for so many other things in the human body, but majority people know it as the happy hormone. So yeah, you might even find a patient who's looking sad or is depressed or is anxious, because this condition has over 40 symptoms, yes.
So like for you, how did you get to diagnose it and the treatment? Because we know in Kenya by the time, especially when it comes to neurological diseases, it takes a lot of time, like diagnosing it and now starting the treatment. For you, how was it? Like for the first, when the first time that you were told you have Parkinson's, and how was your journey until now?
So from high school, I remember the first time it ever showed up was we had gone on a trip and we were climbing rocks or something random, what children do in school trips. So when I reached the top, I started to shake like a leaf, and my teacher was so worried, and she was like, come down, come down, come down. Oh my goodness, you're gonna fall. Have you been drinking changa? Come down, come down. And my dad was a teacher at the time. She's like, I'll tell your father you've been drinking alcohol, because she couldn't make any sense of it. So I came down and I was calm and everything, it went away, right? But I didn't realize at that point that was the beginning of now the tremor actually setting in. So fast forward a few years later, it's becoming more and more pronounced, but me as an individual, I was ignoring it and hoping and hiding and hoping one day it will go away. I'll wake up in the morning and it'll be gone, but it was just getting more and more intense. So fast forward now to 2020, I stopped working to try and understand what was really going on. People had suggested maybe this is a mental, emotional thing, so I went into seeing someone, I went to talk to someone, I went into therapy, and after that, there was not much progress. So now you're left with, what next?
Yeah.
So one of my family, my parents and my uncles, my uncle is a doctor in the US. He had obviously seen this with other people.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to say it outright, that this is what you have. He told me, let's maybe talk to a specialist. So I sent a few videos abroad. My parents had even sent my scans without my knowledge, God bless them. They were just trying to find some answers. And the doctor on that side came back and said Parkinson's. So that was the first confirmation that I received.
So actually the disease was diagnosed in abroad, not in Kenya.
So you're usually told, get more than one opinion, right?
Yeah.
So in my research, because I was unsettled, I was thinking to myself, how can it be? I'm young. I have my whole life ahead of me. This is probably a misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
And even around that same time, I was seeing an Ayurvedic doctor, a natural healer. And the first day I walked into his office, he said, you're too young to have this. He knew what was going on, but he didn't want to tell me. Because sometimes you can shock a patient, right?
Yeah.
He's also not a neurologist, as much as he has all this medical knowledge. So at some point I told him, you know, now my parents are saying I have to see a neurologist. He told me, you go confirm. Let's find out what exactly it is. So I said, okay, sawa. I went to a neurologist locally. What did he do? Confirmed it's Parkinson's. I talked to people abroad in India because when the doctor here locally told me the two options are brain surgery or medication, I had to ask myself, you know, are there options outside of this? So I started investigating with the help of my parents what we can do, right?
Yeah.
So when I was talking to the doctors in India, I wrote them like my symptoms, etc. They said this is most likely Parkinson's. That's the third. Third or the fourth. I saw a Himalayan doctor. There's nothing I haven't done under this sun to try and get to the bottom of this. Yeah. So after 4 or 5 confirmations is when I finally came to the acceptance of this condition being a part of my life. And that is when I also made a choice not to medicate immediately, because I was diagnosed officially in 2022, to explore natural ways. Because once you get on medicine, it's hard to come off and it's costly and etc. etc. So I spent about 1.5 years what my uncle in the States would call experimenting and wasting time. But for me, I just had to make sure I've tried everything, you know, until the last resort. So that's how I actually started to medicate. Yeah. So
like for you, was it easier for the doctors here in Kenya to diagnose it, or it took, how was it, the journey itself?
So the main diagnosis came in 2022, but that's not the first time I went to hospital for this condition. In around 2013, I was in university and I had gone to get my shoes cleaned. And while my shoes were being cleaned, my legs were just shaking. And the guy who was cleaning my shoes said, hey, madam, what's going on? And I thought to myself, if he's concerned, maybe I should also take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was quite intense. So I went to the hospital. They even thought it was, I think it's called kutu, epilepsy.
Yeah.
That's what they thought it was, because my body, shaking. But the brain did not show the activity for that. So we were left with questions. That was 2013. They said maybe it's something called essential tremor. But with that, if you drink alcohol, it's supposed to reduce.
Yes.
But that was not the case. And I don't even like alcohol. But at the time, I was young, blah, blah, blah. I was just constantly shaky. But I wasn't unable to do things for myself. Yes, it was just a fact in my life, you know.
So let's say it's been a journey now. It took from 2013 to
essentially 2022
for you to now diagnose
pay it attention. Yes, but now by the time it was into 2022, I was having a very hard time. I don't know how to express. Some of, like, my shoulders and my back, sometimes I can't even stand straight like this. It feels like you're either being pushed forward or there's something heavy, like if you're carrying something. So washing my hands at the sink, I noticed I'm almost inside the sink, things like that. Or trying to button a shirt, or sitting, if you're sitting without a backrest, you just find yourself going backwards. Yeah. So some of these things were very concerning. It had become a bit difficult to hold on to a job because typing, etc.
was not
easy. It was very tough. Yes.
So for people, probably, what are some of the things that they need to take it seriously and probably proceed for such treatments? Maybe you tell us some of the symptoms and signs, and at what age can it really start? So
one thing I've come to understand is that this can happen to anybody, anywhere, at any time, regardless of gender, age, race, social status, financial well-being.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody. Sorry, repeat the question?
Like some of the symptoms.
Some of the symptoms, yeah. I mean, it's different for everybody. I think the doctor said shoulders and back discomfort is one of the main ones. Sleep disturbances, digestive problems. But again, individuals are different. So what they do is they usually listen to you and see what they can check on some of these things. But if you're able, go for regular screenings, you know, see your doctor regularly, make sure you are up to date with your health and lifestyle practices, you know, take care of yourself, hydrate, sleep well, eat well, all those things. Just look after yourself, yes. But cause for concern, I would suggest if you see even a small shake in one or both of your left hands or in your legs when you're sitting and you're resting, that's a cause for concern.
Yeah. So how is the treatment? Because you know this is a disease that is rarely diagnosed in Kenya, and there's no major concern, especially with the government. How is it? Do you get support? Yeah, because I know it might be something that is not cheap, you know.
At all. So just even finding the medication is very difficult. There are a lot of chemists that don't hold the medications for this condition, and the ones that do sell them quite highly priced. So access is one problem. Access to doctors is another problem. I understand yesterday I was being told that there are only 18 neurologists in Kenya at large.
What?
I think majority of them are concentrated in Nairobi. So what happens to people in the villages, you know, and that's where our older population is as well, right? I don't think we've ever done a mapping of the whole country to find how many people are with this condition, how many people need the support. Level 4, level 5 hospitals, even level 3, who is looking after these people? Are they part of the society? Have they been thrown away? It's definitely a journey. And even when you talk about treatment, you can. Yeah. In my journey, I have been blessed in that I live in Nairobi, for example. I have access. There are people who support that side of the things. But when the doctor first told me, when I asked him, okay, so you're saying this is what it is, what are my options? And he said either lifelong medication or brain surgery. Now that brain surgery is not even offered here in Kenya. And even after you have the surgery, there's some maintenance that needs to be done every so often, maybe a couple of years down the line, where you have to service parts of what is added to your body to reduce the symptoms of this thing.
Okay.
But there are a lot of technological and medicine advancements, medical advancements, Paula. So there's hope, but again, we're in Africa and the rules are a bit different, you know, so we do with what we can. You mentioned government. So I think it's very recently, I'm not sure about the date, that it has been recognized as a disability. Prior to that, it was not recognized. But even with that recognition, how are you supporting these patients? You know, because ultimately, unfortunately, at some point, this person is not going to be able to work in their life. Is there something in place that will help them support themselves or support their family if, for instance, they are the breadwinner? I believe everybody deserves a good quality of life, right? But if government can't even support you to get medication, can't even support you to get the things that you need in your life to be comfortable, what are we doing? I remember going for the assessment at Mbagathi Hospital, and first and foremost, from the gate, they don't allow cars. You've come for a disability assessment. The point at which you're supposed to be assessed is at the furthest point of the hospital, at the back kabisa. So people in wheelchairs, mothers with their babies who they can't even put down. You understand? This is probably an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, hajiwezi, but mam amefosiwa, abebe mtoto hadi hapo. There are no chairs, there's no water to drink, there's no, you're there half the day, you don't even know what's going on, you're exposed to the elements, inside is full. Who is helping who? So we have a very long way to go. Grateful that it's recognized as a disability, yes. Yes, there are tax exemptions if you register and you follow the protocols, but that it should not end there. In developed countries, and I know we're far from that, people are given allowances. People are made, their lives are more comfortable. There's physiotherapy access. I think actually National Council for Persons with Disability does offer some of these services, but you have to be registered. But even the process to register is so long-winded, and you have to attend a screening on this date, a screening on that date, then you go to Nyayo House and you're already at a disadvantage. You understand? Your body is going through some things. So if anything, there's a long way to go in terms of access to medication, access to doctors, access to knowledge and information, so people are not thrown out of the society, especially in rural Kenya. You know, we have a very long way to go.
Yeah, so speaking of medication, is it a lifetime medication, and how is it? Probably, maybe you can give us a rough estimate of how the amount.
The amount. So depending on your usage, you can get 100 pills. The price that I regularly find is between 6,000 to 7,000 for 100 pills.
And now, that lasts you for long?
Now that depends on your usage. If you're using 3 times a day, if you're using 6 times a day, 8 times a day, it can go up to, I understand some patients are even on 18 times a day, just depending on how their bodies are doing, how they tolerate the medicine, etc. So it's very different for everybody. Not everybody has that access. Not everybody has health insurance as well, you know, so we have a long way to go.
So speaking of organization, probably do you have a community or an organization that probably
supports?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. It's called the Parkinson'S Support Group of Kenya. We have presence in Nairobi and presence in Kisumu. I believe there's one in Mombasa also. Yes, they are very helpful. They give us resources. They give us community. They help us understand that we're not going through this alone. We do a lot of activities together. We are taught by experts. We have community. Actually, this weekend there's a lot that's happening.
Yeah, I know. Before we talk about the World's Parkinson Day, probably how is your day like, or a patient with Parkinson's disease? How is his or her day like, and also the aftercare, because I know there is a lot of care that goes in with a patient with Parkinson.
So I can speak for myself. I understand that other people's experiences might be a bit different.
Yeah.
Currently I'm on 2 doses, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So the first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is I take my medication, because if I don't, I won't be able to do anything. I'll be in pain, I'll be uncomfortable, everything just comes rushing back.
The shakes come
Everything
with pain.
comes rushing back, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So depending on how long you've had the condition, I used to think it was just bodily discomfort until a doctor asked me, are you in pain? And then I sat back and I asked myself, this leg, this here, oh, kumbe it's pain. I had no clue prior. Yeah, so for me, I'm able to do most of my things. Now around lunchtime when the medicine begins to wear off, kind of, what's happening right now, I will eat, I will do something else, I'll take my mind off things that I need to take off, and then towards the evening, it'll get a bit better. Then my next dose is at 7 p.m. So I'm grateful that I am able to handle myself. There's a time before I started medicating, it was very difficult. Even something as simple as just standing from a chair. You know, your body is weak. You don't have the strength, like you don't have the, it was funny. My cousins and I used to laugh, you know, at a door like this one, I'm trying to push the door, I can't even push the door. I can't pull the door. Somebody, if we're in a car and the car takes a corner, I'm left like this because I can't actually bring my body back into position. So if you don't have somebody who's there with you, who cares about you, who knows what you're going through, who understands what you need, right? It can be very, very tough. And also for each individual. So if I'm in that state and I need some assistance, it's very difficult for me to tell a stranger, excuse me, can you come and stand in this way, hold me in this way, and pull me up in this way. It's a lot easier if the people around you, because you have to train them, right? There's a way that I like to be handled. There's a way the next person will prefer to be handled. We're different weights, we're different heights, so the more you spend time with a person with a condition like this, the better you begin to understand how they need you to support them. Yes.
So how is do you have like something like a diet? Are you advised on what to take, what not to take, at least to manage the condition?
You talked about aftercare, so let's talk about care first. A condition like Parkinson's is a team effort, right? You have your neurologist, you probably have a physiotherapist, you probably have a speech therapist, you probably have an occupational therapist, you probably have a nutritionist, you might have a mental health practitioner as well, maybe a therapist, a psychiatrist, you don't know what else is going on. And then if you're older, there are also things called comorbidities, meaning you might have high blood pressure, you might have diabetes, you might have any other complications. So in order for a person with Parkinson's to live a whole, full life, there are probably 6 or 7 people involved. And then there's the caregiver, right? So, or caregivers, because you can't have one, because they'll get tired. And then if the caregiver is tired, they can't care for the patient, obviously. So they need support as well. So even within the Parkinson's support group, they don't only give care to patients, they give care to caregivers also. They give them support and counseling.
So about the diet, I was asking about the diet. Are you like advised on what to eat and what not to eat? And
I mean, definitely, because food should be your medicine first and foremost, right? It's different for everybody. I think even the Kenyan diet, let me call it the Kenyan diet, is different as well, because most of the information that comes from abroad. So on the current treatment that I'm doing with Dr. Hamisi Kote Ali, hi Dr. Ali, shout out. His treatment, luckily for me, is without surgery, without medication. Yes, so he's put me on a diet with no wheat, no sugar, no potatoes. So I'm eating gouache, I'm eating millet, I'm eating quinoa, if anybody's familiar with that. I'm eating brown rice, I'm eating nyama, like grass-fed beef, no chicken, because chicken has antibiotics, and we're trying to return my body to a place of cleanliness, a place of balance, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm constantly on a diet. The people in my life, some of them don't understand, others understand. Sometimes you go to somebody's house, you're wondering now, can I start asking, do you have ngwashe, do you have millet? You know, it's very awkward. So sometimes you do with what you can, you eat what you can when you can. But yes, to just be conscious of what you're putting into your body. Because for instance, inflammatory foods like bread, chapati, out of the question. The minute I eat it, I actually start to shake.
Immediately.
Almost. And that's something I've realized now on this new diet, because when I have cheat days, sorry, Dietary, when I have cheat days, I look around and I ask myself, I just ate this meal now and I'm already feeling a bit unsteady, right? I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for that. Yes, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I'm always up for a challenge. If it's a new diet, let me see how far I can go with this thing. If it's going to help me get better, then I'm all for it. Yeah.
Now, speaking of the clean eating, do you see a difference?
Definitely, definitely. Even the way my body uses its energy, even the way I feel, even the way my skin looks, even the way I sleep. Yes, things like that are major indicators of whether you're on the right track or you need to adjust kidogo. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the World Parkinson'S Day.
Sure.
Yeah. When is it and what are the plans for that day?
So World Parkinson'S Day globally is commemorated on April 11th. That's tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. So there are 2 activities taking place on the 11th and 1 activity on the 12th. So let me try to do this slowly.
Yes.
The Kisumu side of the PSGK is having a walk starting from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in Kisumu, please get involved, look it up, find out how you can get involved. They will have, they'll support people who's registering for National Councils of Persons with Disability. There'll be a few things, research will be shared, etc. And then here in Nairobi, on Friday, we will be lighting up, Old Mutual has graciously allowed us to light up the building in blue.
Oh, wow.
So globally, it is just a way to show solidarity for people who have Parkinson's disease, show them that, we're thinking about them, we're caring for them. So that is an initiative started by PD Avengers in Canada, and it's the first time in East Africa we'll be doing this. So at 6:45 p.m., if you see Old Mutual, if it's blue, now you know why. Yes, if you see it, take pictures, tag us, we will repost you. On Saturday now in Nairobi is the main event. So we have an event from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Westlands at the Visa Oshwal Community Center, right next to the Oval, or in Westlands. And we have a lot of things lined up. We have a guest speaker. We have 2 plays to inform people more about this condition. There's 1 play and a few videos that will be aired. There's a lot that's going to be happening. There'll be entertainment, there'll be a raffle. If you're part of the audience that day, you could go with some prizes. So we're really just encouraging the mass public to be involved, to come down, see what's going on, learn more about this condition, remove some of the stigma and some of the, I don't want to call it ignorance, but the lack of knowledge around this condition.
So probably have a theme for the day?
Would I call it a theme? We're just calling it an awareness campaign. But if you want to wear blue in solidarity with people going through this condition, you're very much welcome to do so. Yes.
Okay, I know probably maybe you face some people not understanding about the disease and negative comments and people trying to bring you down because they do not understand. Especially for social media, and I know maybe you are active on social media and you want to raise awareness. There are probably you'll get positive feedback, you get negative feedback. From you, what can you say about the public? Are they knowledgeable about this disease? And how do you handle the negative feedback that probably people
have?
Yeah.
So I think at the point that I'm at, I have done so much internal work to accept myself, to accept that this is where I am. So I laugh, I laugh. I mean, there's some that are completely out of this world. Those ones, I don't even touch them. I usually leave Kenyans to deal with Kenyans, because there are a lot of people who come to sort of defend me. But I will say that 90% of the comments I receive are positive.
Wow.
Everybody believes that I will heal, because that's also what I believe.
Yes,
I was not born with this condition, and conditions change, right? The weather changes every 2 minutes. So there's no one to say that I'm stuck here for the rest of my life. So in terms of, are Kenyans knowledgeable about this condition? Yes, some are, but again, information changes, knowledge changes. some things that work for other people might not work for other people. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I take most of it with a pinch of salt. People have a lot of remedies. People are saying, you know, try this. Have you tried that? Have you done this? Have you done that? Without understanding that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, probably what's your message to people, like the public at large, in regards to the Parkinson's disease?
If you see somebody shaking, ask them. Ask them. Don't ask them if they're feeling cold. I know that's a common thing to ask because you assume somebody who is shaking is feeling cold. If somebody looks like they're not okay, just approach slowly, ask them if they need your support. They might take some time to respond because it also affects your ability to speak.
True that.
Don't jump on them. Don't, are you okay, are you okay? Oh my God, are you good? Yeah, relax first, relax first. Just, if you're not able to approach them directly, just maybe ask the people that they're with, ask them what's going on, if that's possible, because a lot of people don't approach me directly. They talk to whoever I'm surrounded by. And usually the people I'm with will tell you, yes, she has a condition, blah, 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 but she's fine, thank you for your concern, etc. And do your research. Honestly, I think we are blessed in the age of information. Just enter Google. Enter Google, ask questions, ask the person, are you willing to answer some of the questions that I have? Because where I am, I'll answer them. If they're not inappropriate, guys, yes, I will answer any questions that you have. But everybody's different. So maybe a person is having a hard day or an emotional day and they're not in a mood to share. You can respect that. Learn more. Let's all strive to learn more. Yes. Yes.
Okay, if you had a wish, one wish for, as we mark the World's Parkinson's Day, what's your wish? That
we come up with a cure for this condition. I think under the sun, there's nothing that can't be dealt with, you know. So that is my wish. That is my wish. I wish that access is improved in Kenya. I wish that more doctors become neurologists in Kenya. I wish that everybody who has this condition is able to receive the care and the quality of life that they deserve. Yes.
So is everyone invited for?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Event?
There are some charges at the gate. If you buy a ticket now, it's 500. If you buy at the gate, it's 750.
Okay.
Kids is a bit subsidized, but yes, I would suggest if you're interested in joining us, do it now so that tickets don't run out and you don't miss a spot. Yes.
Okay, so your parting shot probably 12 years.
Come down if you can, get involved in however way you can. Wear blue, take pictures of Old Mutual. If you're in Kisumu, join them. If you're in Nairobi, come and see us on Saturday. You know, ask me questions on social media. Anything that is appropriate, I will answer. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much, Nduta, for your time.
Sure.
And you're always welcome. Anytime, you're free to come and enlighten people, get to know about this disease.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we'll try as much as possible to be there too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, titapkalenzi next student betu tabrani kukakimite akenduta mbogori inendetsko agenge engbicha taksunda menda na tokpa juvenile honest onset Parkinson's disease ago amangwalega inetke ago pamyanitok ago tunok chemuji baishe asimuj inyoru goinyoiset eng sibitale shakto by Metap Kenya ago alengo go mistake of Renan go nejiger tetutetap Kass Mashinani kumeje genyoru logo at studio as negative style.